Oh, jeez. Okay, there we go. Okay. Don't really know what today's topic is going to be. We can go over. Hi, Stephanie. How you doing? If anybody wants to ask a question, please do so. Again, this looks really rough. And again, new to this, it looks rough on the corner here because it just says someone joined, but it doesn't tell me whether or not anyone has any questions. If they do have any questions, please, I think just call. Just call me, 724-420-5392. This is going to be our second video of today. Well, not of today, of course, but second video of this series or whatever it is you want to call it. So, too many ums. Okay, very natural. Again, today we're just talking and trying to figure things out. If anyone has any questions, please give me a call. Just trying to, I think what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to talk about the services that I think are important for everybody that we have, that we can help you with. Hold on here. I guess I cannot type and talk at the same time. All right, so again, if anyone has any questions, give me a call. Call me at 724-420-5392. Don't know how long this session is going to be. We're going to talk about whatever questions are important to you, but if you want to ask a question, please ask it in the bottom corner here. I hope I can see it. Again, this looks kind of rough again. Last time when I was doing this, it looked like I was getting just hi, hello, manual inputs on my right side of my screen here. Hi, Krista. So it's just a matter of I'm not sure if what I'm seeing here off to my right is what I'm going to actually read when this is done. So, Krista, I do need to call you, or you can call me. That's fine. I have something. What do I call this? This is for Krista. I have something for Healing Hearts to do this Saturday over at Westmoreland Mall. That is a table vendor of type of thing that deals with therapy for people, and they called us to whatever, to do a animal therapy presentation for them. I know it's last minute. If you can't make it, that's great. And that's okay. Not a, it is what it is. But I just got this call, so I'd like to be able to bring my dog. Or if we want, we can bring Lola, whatever we can do. But this is an excellent opportunity for Healing Hearts, or even Learning to Lead dog training, to talk about animal therapy. So, hi, Carol. So, I think what I want to try to get into here is a little bit of what services we're offering and what makes us a little bit different. I'm trying to gear all these speeches more towards the general public and what people I think need. So if you think there's something that we can do for you, please let me know. It doesn't have to be on this form. It can just be a message through Facebook or a message. Call me, text me, whatever you want to do, that's fine. So, but again, it looks like on the side here, all I'm getting is highs and hellos and stuff, and I appreciate it. But like I said, last time when I hung up and went through all this, it looked like people were having conversations and I couldn't answer. So if that's what's happening again, I don't know. So I apologize. Let me get started. Let me give the phone number again. If anybody has a question, they can call and we'll talk about it live here. My number here again, 724-420-5392. But that's what I'd like to be able to do. That actually helped me last week in getting this done. A person had a call and I actually was able to schedule an appointment with them. So anyone can call me about any questions whatsoever. It could be anything from potty training to dog aggression to loose leash to jumping on people, anything. It doesn't matter what the question is. If you have a question, I'm sure someone else has a question too. So don't be afraid to call 724-420-5392. And we can get started with that. But until someone calls in, I guess let me talk about some of the services that we have. The basic services that we have is obedience, behavioral, therapy dog, and service dog. That's the mainstay of what we do. When it comes to obedience, or any one of those categories can be done either in home or in a group session, depending on behavior. But therapy dog and service dog can still be done at your home. And what makes mine a little bit different compared to the other people is it doesn't have to all be in a group class. So I understand part of it might need to be in a group class, the beginning sessions when it comes to therapy or emotional support animal, or even a service dog. I understand when you get to do what I classify in my group, in my business, as phase one. Phase one is obedience related things, right? Sit, down, stay, heel, come, leave it loose leash. All those kinds of obedience commands, really. So now it comes down to, I understand that part being done maybe in a group atmosphere. Oh, we got a call. Here is Krista.
Call from Krista Volta.
Hey, Krista? You? Okay, that's fine. I'm going to put you on speaker if that's okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me put you on speaker. All right. Oop. Okay. Just so for the public knows, this is Krista. So, Krista, what's your issue?
Well, you know my Lola and you know my Shiloh, and I'm not sure if you know that my Shiloh just crossed the Rainbow Bridge on Friday.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Okay. It was her time.
Okay. Are you okay? You okay?
You know, it's been rough, but she was ready.
Okay.
I'll probably tear up when I probably
No,
start to
that's
cry.
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My question is, Lola is grieving the loss of the dog.
Yep. Yeah.
And she also faked an illness today.
Oh, really? That's really like a limp leg kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. It cost me $50 to take her to the vet's office for that vet to tell me that she's depressed. She's off her food. She's depressed. She doesn't want to be an only dog. Get her another dog.
Wow.
Give her time. And I'm working on that through other rescues.
Yeah.
She's not going to be alone for long, but I can't possibly be the only person whose dog is grieving the loss of a companion.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people have the ability that I do to just randomly bring in another
dog. Yeah. Yeah.
So, thoughts?
Thoughts for Lola and what to do?
Correct.
Okay.
Or for anybody else that is facing this situation.
Yeah.
She won't eat. She doesn't want to play. She mopes around.
Yeah. Wow.
You know,
okay.
Like I said, the vet found absolutely nothing wrong with her. And as soon as we went to the vet's office, she perked up and was like, hi.
Yay, I get to do. I've worked with a couple of dogs that were depressed for the same situation, right? And sometimes, now each dog was a little different, right? One of the dogs that stood out the most in my mind was this one dog that was like a blue tick healer lab mix, right? It was not the alpha dog, and it was in the house, and the other dog was more active, and that one wound up getting hit by a car and passed away. So now that dog, the dog that's starting to get depressed, wound up not being able to handle the fact that it was now, it felt it had to be the alpha, right? The leader of the other dogs, because they brought in a puppy, for that dog, right? So now there's two dogs again in the house, but now she feels that she has to be the alpha, and she didn't know how, and she was depressed. She was starting to get irritated with people around her. She was starting to do all these things that just weren't normal, right? And this has been going on for about 6 months. I don't think Lola would go on that long. I really don't, but I can't guarantee, right? I think.
Well, number one, I'm not going to let that go on that long.
Yeah.
You also know Lola's history of separation anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
Since Shiloh has passed, even when I go to work on a normal work day, on a normal work schedule, I am coming home to chaos.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And to me, that was one of the things that says, okay, she's stressed. Her buddy's gone.
Yeah. And the easiest, well, I would say the easiest thing to do is try not to stress out yourself. Don't go over the top when she does do something wrong.
I've given her free rein.
Yeah, you do.
Maybe I've given her too much free rein.
No, I don't. I know you. I don't think
you. I haven't really corrected anything.
And
but
the only thing I would say is the only time you have to correct something if it's really grievous, right? Really grievous. Other than that, I'd let a lot of things slide a little bit.
But pillows exploded in the bedroom yesterday.
Oh, okay.
During my normal work day.
Okay.
That was very egregious.
Yeah, I agree.
Very egregious.
I agree. Yeah.
But I still, when I came home, when I let her out, I mean, her eyes were red as red could be.
Oh wow.
She was just beyond stressed.
Yes. Yes.
So
and what'd you do though?
Right or wrong, bad dogging her doesn't work. It never has. You know that.
Yep.
I chose to just, right or wrong, I chose to just ignore the fact that the pillows had exploded and put her outside.
Okay.
Until she tried to calm down, but she had spent the whole day destroying the bedroom, so she was thirsty.
Okay.
And all she cared about was water.
Okay. And
in that circumstance, you can't overwater because then they'll throw up.
Yeah.
So it probably took about an hour and 40 minutes.
The only thing I probably would have done is let her see that you're picking up the pillow. I wouldn't have said anything to her.
I did. And as I'm picking up the pillows, she's jumping on me and hi, mommy. And then she just got, go lay down.
Okay, and I think that's right on the mark of she knows you're upset, but yet you're not yelling at her, right?
Right.
So I think that's all you can do for that, really, right there. I think that was right on the mark, really. One thing that I think you need, or you probably already know, is just keep her as happy as possible. So if you could do more walks, if someone can help you do more walks, or do more play, or do have play dates with other dogs, that would help it, I think.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. I absolutely do. But she's also never been a self player.
What do you mean by self player?
If it's just me and her and I throw the ball, she doesn't want to play ball. We can go for a walk.
Okay.
She won't sit here and eat a bone if she's the only dog in the house.
Okay.
But if there's another dog in the house
then she'll
that's eating a bone, then she'll go chew her bone.
Okay, well, you got to start chewing bones then.
What's that?
You got to start chewing bones then.
Yeah, apparently so. But, and again, I mean, I had Charlotte for almost 9 months.
Yeah.
And the routine was when I came home from work, I threw the ball in the room for Shy. And when Charlotte was chasing the ball, Lola wanted to chase the ball too, so Lola got her ball thrown in a different direction. They had a history.
Yeah, and that's good. I think.
But now that there's not another dog here,
can you do play dates?
Tom and Karen are in Florida,
Oh, okay.
and Lola doesn't play with my mom's dogs.
Oh, I thought she
hang
did.
out, but nobody plays.
Oh, I thought that she did play with them.
No, she doesn't play with my mom's dogs.
Okay.
They tolerate each other. They ignore each other. Nobody plays together.
Okay.
My mom's two dogs will play together, but nobody plays with Lola.
Then how about just one? How about just one of hers?
Nope.
No. Okay. Well, I would still say give it a try. The reason why is because they, your mom's dog might realize something's wrong and change a little bit and see if they can be, sympathetic to Lola. Maybe. You know what I mean? I would try just one.
I do. And I'm probably I have to run over to my mom's tomorrow. I'll probably tell. And anytime I go to my mom's, I always take Lola over to see Grandma.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But,
so,
I just,
yeah.
Again, that was my question.
Yeah.
I can't possibly be the only person who has a dog that's grieving the loss of the dog companion.
And you're not. And thank you for calling about it and help see if anyone else has a problem with it. Yeah. I would just say you'll know when she's ready to do things, but I think on a regular schedule, even now, play with her. I mean, you can't play with her, but walk with her more. Walk with her a little bit and do stuff outside and stuff. But and maybe a play date here or there if you can, or maybe Sherry can help you bring a dog over for I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I'm getting like I said, when I went to the vet, he was like, "Oh yeah, I think she needs another dog."
Yeah.
So I'm actually getting one of my fosters who has been returned back to PetSearch through no fault of his own.
Yeah.
Clyde, the German short-haired pointer, who she loved and played with. And then I also will be bringing in another forever foster through Gray Paws.
Oh, okay.
But that's not going to be until like the middle to end of March.
Okay.
But in the meantime, and again, I'm somebody that has access to
a lot of dogs.
Correct.
Yeah.
A lot of dogs and a lot of dogs that are the right matches for what I need in my home.
Correct.
Most people don't have that luxury, put it that way.
Shopping list. Shopping list. I don't know what to call it. Yeah.
Well,
I know what you mean.
Not only a shopping list, but a lot of people can't afford to have more than one dog.
Yeah.
And maybe a lot of people don't know what fostering is all about.
Yeah. 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 I mean, everyone learns whatever at their own rate, and
right.
I didn't know about it until years ago, but that I'm sure there's people now that don't know about it.
Right.
So
But until I get over this hump, I was just wondering if you had any other additional suggestions or advice.
No. I would say don't hurry it. Don't be fake. She'll know it. But don't let things slide either, like the pillow. It's going to be a weird, try to be understanding, but as normal as possible, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I didn't know Lola. Yeah. I mean, not Laura.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
I didn't put a whole lot up.
And you shouldn't have to.
She took a bad turn.
Yeah, and you shouldn't have to. That's okay.
We'll talk personally.
Okay. Yeah.
I did put a couple things up on my page, but she did go very quietly, quickly, comfortably.
Good.
Here at home.
Good.
Under the care of the Gray Paws veterinarian.
Okay.
And
it was the best possible scenario.
It was the right decision to make for her as she fell asleep in my arms on the floor.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Yeah. And everyone deals with it their own way. I know when I had to put my dog down, we had like a family forum about it. right? And I think I told you this, I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
But you know, I wanted to be the one to take my dog to the vet and put her down
Right.
and see that process and feel
Right.
that and turn a page in my own heart and you know, and that was my own healing for it, you know, to do it, right?
Well,
So
go ahead. I
no,
didn't mean
yeah,
to
no, that was
Sorry.
it. You know, everyone in my family had their own thing on what they wanted to do. I just didn't want it. I wanted it to be a source of comfort for everybody and comfort in the knowing that we did do everything that we, you know, we've exhausted all the possibilities and we weren't inhumane about it. And now you're getting me to talk a little weak here. So
Yeah.
it is, I understand. I do. It's,
Fortunately, I was very, very fortunate because she was a Great Paws sponsored dog.
mhm.
They make arrangements for end of life, and that includes having a vet on staff that will come to your home.
Okay, good. And I think that's always a good option. I know a couple.
Absolutely. And, you know, just touch a little bit on it. You know, she passed away shortly after 11 a.m. on Friday. She had to have had a stroke sometime Thursday night during her sleep. Because when I got up Friday to go to work, she had lost the ability to use her back legs.
Wow. Okay.
There was, you know, you know, she had cancer and, you know, everything else that she had overcome and fought, and there was no option.
Yeah, she was at the end.
It was time. It was time.
She was at the end of her journey. I get it.
I'm as much as it breaks my heart.
I'm sorry.
No. It's okay. It was her time, and she was ready.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I also kind of wonder if I did things wrong, because
you always second guess yourself like that.
I do, Ed. That's me. That's who I am. That's the person that I am. But you know, the vet came at 11, and the funeral home scheduled for 12:30. Because the vet had said, you know, it's about an hour. Well, she was so ready to go. The vet was gone
early
in a half an hour.
Okay.
So now I unfortunately have my deceased
dog in your home. Yeah.
Laying in the middle of the living room floor.
Yeah.
And Shiloh couldn't fit. Shiloh.
I know, Chin. Yeah.
Lola was looking at her and nudging her and wanting and crying. I'm wondering if.
Do you think it was too traumatic for her?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I know the sensitive dog that she is, and you know that also, which is what makes her a great therapy dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if I broke my dog.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do
you understand what I meant?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean by that. It's tough to say right now. For what the time frame is from when Shiloh passed to now, and the way Lola's acting, if I have to give you an answer right now, I would say no, you didn't. I would say no, you didn't. It's just a matter of she's grieving too. Exactly. So I don't think he broke her. I don't think the experience made her. I don't think. There's nothing you could have done anyway. Even if you were to put a blanket over Shiloh or keep Lola out of the room, she would have known.
Right.
You know what I mean? So. How can you plan something you've never experienced before? Right? You can't ask yourself to plan it down to the 10-minute increments. You know, so I don't want you to blame yourself for it. You know, I just don't see it. I just don't.
You know me, Ed. I blame myself for everything.
You know, a lot of people do. You know, so. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I think it's the best situation that you could have had, with what you're doing. I think, yeah, I think you did the right decision at the right time.
I completely am at peace
with that. Okay.
With that, absolutely.
Okay.
There was no alternative. There was no let's try something else. There was just there. It was.
Yeah.
There was nothing else.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about me bringing another dog back on board as quickly? Because the vet did say that, one of the problem solvers here is to bring another dog in.
Okay. And I would agree with that.
And not let her be the only dog.
Correct.
And the other dog that I am probably bringing back in, well, actually, it's definite. He's coming back in on Sunday. He's Clyde. He's that German Shorthair Pointer. Who I had for 2 months. He was adopted out, and through no fault of his own, he was returned.
Okay.
It's a dog she already knows and a dog she already loved and played with.
Good. And I think I was just getting ready to say it would be even better if it's a dog she already knew.
Yeah.
So again, this is perfect. I don't think it's too early. I really don't. I think someone that she already knows. I mean, if you're having trouble thinking about whether or not it's a right decision, think of what would you want, right? Yeah, I understand you might want a couple of days by yourself and figuring things out and process. I get it. But then after a while, you're going to want someone to talk to, someone to be with, someone to help you through it, even if it's just a sounding board, right?
Yeah, and it's funny with all the dogs and all the fosters I've had in and out of this house. This is the first time she's ever reacted this way.
It's new to her too. Well, she saw the death.
I think maybe it's because she saw the dog dead. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, there's.
Or it's because I had the dog I had Charlotte for 9 months.
Yeah.
Usually, the longest I've ever had a foster before has been 4.
Well, look at it this way.
So,
from a human standpoint, I know what I've dealt with, right? So when I had when you see a death on TV, right? Not a gruesome thing, but just like a funeral, right? Some people reflect, some don't. They just do whatever, but let's say you're the kind of person you reflect a little bit, right? So, but it's not the same as if you actually go to a funeral, right? It hits you a little deeper, right, when you're actually at a funeral, right? So it's the same thing, I think, for Lola and Shiloh, where she saw dogs come and go, and she didn't think anything was wrong, but then when she saw and felt the passing, that hit a little harder, right?
Yeah, and I think the last 4 or 5 days, well, probably the last 3 days, because she rapidly spiraled downward, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, and you know what? Don't look at that as a negative. Don't.
Could definitely tell that something was wrong.
Yeah, don't.
And she hates it when I cry.
Yeah. No, I get it. So, I don't look at that as a negative at all. It's going to happen.
As a negative either. I look at that as a positive, and again, that's one of the things that makes her a great therapy dog.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I think you're doing fine. I think things are on track, if I can say that. Try to keep her happy. Try to bring in, I think the other dog that's coming in will be a good idea.
That was, and again, that was, I was torn between wanting a break, and I thought she needed a break, and, now she's, bacon symptoms.
Yeah, well,
$50. It took me for the vet to tell me she's faking.
that I'll be honest, that's a new one. I've seen dog fake symptoms, but I've never seen him fake a symptom because of this issue.
Well,
Well, you know, it's
other
just
issues? You've seen them fake symptoms over other issues?
uh-huh.
Okay, so, well, then.
Yeah. So it's just another. It's just a yeah. I can see it happening. It makes sense. You know. Yeah. I get it. So yeah. But again, I think you're fine. I don't think you traumatized her. I don't think you're asking too much. I don't think you are so much on track for a lot of things that you just don't realize. You know, you are, and you care about what you do, and
Absolutely.
you know, so.
But I'm also always concerned with the possibility of creating damage. Not physical damage, but emotional stress.
Yeah.
On any animal that I bring in.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do overthink myself, and I know that, but you know that's just me.
Yeah. No, I'll raise my hand to say I overthink stuff too. I get it. Yeah. But when the dice fall, or however that expression goes, I think you're fine. I think you're fine with everything. Yeah. So, I think with another dog coming in and more walks, and just don't turn everything. You know, still keep her on track with the discipline part. If it's like a pillow or a door, you know, trim or whatever. You know, she still has to know. You know.
Oh, I'll send you a picture later.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but and again,
I mean, it's frustration, it's stress. It's like, where did my friend go?
Yeah.
Mommy's gone, and now my friend is gone.
Yeah.
I get that. So I realize I can't discipline. You can discipline the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the emotion you cannot.
Correct. Extremely correct. Yes. So, you know, you can't tell someone to behave the same way as when your mother died 3 days ago than if their mother died 30 years ago, right? So there's a difference there, right? You know, when you know. So yeah, definitely. But don't beat yourself up. Is what my advice would be to you individually, I guess. Yeah. You know, but I think again, I think you're fine. I wish a lot of the other clients were more like you, really. So, but yeah, I'll keep in touch with you though. I want to make sure.
All right, yeah, absolutely.
I want to make sure that everything's okay with Lola and all that. So, but yeah. But you know, I not to cut you off, but I guess thanks for calling.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I took up enough of your time. Talk to somebody else.
You know, yeah. So it's okay. Right. So okay, all right. Thanks, Krista.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure if anybody is still on. If anybody again wants to call me at 724-420-5392. Any questions, I'll answer the best way that I can. I'm looking at some of this. Alicia, do you believe dogs are pretty good at judging character of a person? I'm going to say yes. And a lot of that is geared towards body language, and a lot of that is geared towards sometimes it's pheromones. You're going to get a difference of opinion here with other people that you talk to, but how does a dog pick up on the fact that a person is negative, right? Why does a dog not like a person automatically from minute one that they see them? That could be anything ranging from the dog doesn't like the smell of Tide on their clothes, doesn't like their perfume, doesn't like their soap. It could be a smell. It could be something even as simple as someone with a beard, or someone who's wearing glasses, or a hoodie or a hat. Dogs need to be able to understand the shape of things, so they look at the outline. And if they have trouble working with that, then they're going to have trouble understanding whether or not that's a threat or a friend. So you have to teach your dog on some things, not to be scared on some issues, and some issues they need to be aware, right? That's the word I'll use. They need to be aware. And if they feel they need to protect, then that's fine. But again, I always tell everybody, you let your dog gauge the level that you let them protect you on. So, but as far as like the word character of people, I think they do, but I think again, they measure it through body language of the person. A person could like shuffle with their walk, and that could confuse the dog or make it look like something's not quite right. A person could be, being sneaky looking, because think about it, when you're sneaky or something, you're a little bit lower, your gait's different, your head's down, dogs read all those kind of things to help make the determination of what kind of person you are. So if you walk up to a dog, but this is not a hard, fast rule. So if the dog is very adjusted to life, then you could walk up to this dog in any fashion, any form, and be okay with it. But not all dogs are well adjusted, right? Some are fearful, some are skittish, some are nervous, some are and it comes out in different ways. So here you might have a dog that's young and has not been socialized very well, and they're having problems identifying with people who wear hoodies, or people who are just running like in a hoodie in the middle of the neighborhood, right? They don't know how to perceive that. So try to understand the difference between your dog is thinking that this is a bad person, vice your dog is trying to understand if this is a bad person. So I think that needs to be understood with your dog as well, to help them understand that it's like, look, you need to be able to understand that there's good people too. I'm reading this one thing from another person here, so hold on a second. Okay, let me just read it out loud. I think it's fine. My dog likes everyone. He thinks complete strangers should just pet him and love him. He is very excited when he sees anyone and doesn't leave our company alone. It's very exhausting. Yeah, I would agree. For me, trying to occupy him so others are comfortable and don't have a puppy all over them. I would say what you need to do with that is just make sure that the puppy needs to understand that there's rules in the house. It doesn't matter if there's visitors or not. I would say there needs to be a visitor etiquette involved with the puppy. There needs to be it doesn't say how old the puppy is here, but hi Tracy, let me say hi. And anyone else I didn't say hi to, I'm sorry. But I think the puppy needs to understand rules and needs to understand regulations, even if there isn't people in the home. So there should be a way that the puppy should act even inside your own home. They can't jump on people, they can't do certain things, right? So you got to figure out what those rules are, and it's okay to invent them. It's not too late. You just have to realize what your lifestyle is and what's acceptable in your house, right? I have not met a person yet who does not want their dog to not jump up on somebody when they come in the door. I do have people who say they don't mind if the dog licks the visitors when the visitor sits on the couch. Again, everyone's different. So, but for this question though, I would say your puppy needs to have an understanding of what's acceptable in your house from you and anyone else in your house. Now, the visitors, you guys have to decide what's acceptable. A lot of people, I would say in general, they all generally agree on, the puppy can't be jumping on anybody, and the puppy can't be licking their faces. And doing stuff like that, or bothering the visitors. What's considered bothering the visitors, right? I've got one client that they've got multiple couches in their house, and the dog is only allowed on one couch, right? I've seen it to where they move the couch around during Christmas or whatever holiday season, and the couch is in a different spot. The dog picks it up, sits on the couch, it's fine, right? So you can have that mentality. Or if you've got one couch, I've had it to where I would go to someone's house, and the dog, once the visitor sits, okay, 9 months. Okay, so still, that's fine. It should know by now, 9 months. And if not, I can help you teach them. That's fine. And we can figure out what to do. I think I got you on my schedule. Let me just double check here. I'm not sure. I have to look at my schedule, but I don't see it very easily here, but give me a call and we can schedule something. But I have one customer who, one client that is got a dog that when a visitor comes into their home, that the person sits on that couch, the dog automatically gets off the couch, and the dog is not allowed on the couch. The reason why, the dog has a tendency to get up and start licking their face and then getting up behind them and bothering them. So what we suggested and they agreed on was that whenever a visitor comes over to their house, the dog has to get off the couch, right? And then when the visitor gets off the couch, the dog is allowed to go back on the couch. So that might be an option for you. It can easily be done. I've done it before. Or we can just figure out what works for you, right? Or we could just teach it anything you want, really. It's just a matter of, I think my biggest thing is when I'm working with a dog or the owner, the dog needs to have low anxiety, needs to be able to calm down and decompress according to the situation. Sometimes dogs will wind their own selves up, right? Because they've never been told no or don't know how to be told no. Right, so here it is, they're winding themselves up and doing all these things, and it's wrong. And how does it come out? It comes out being displayed as jumping on people and play biting, nipping their hands, pulling on their clothes. It could be a multitude of things the way that this anxiety comes out, right? So I tell everybody that what you got to do is you got to work on their anxiety, because if you don't work on their anxiety and all you do is turn this into an obedience command of telling the dog to sit, the dog's going to be a nervous Nelly sitting until it thinks it needs to break the sit, and then goes right back to being a nervous Nelly and biting again. So I think forget turning it into a command. I tell everybody all the time, you can't fix behavioral issues with obedience commands. You got to have the dog learn how to understand to be calm. If you fix this calmness, the jumping will go away, the play biting will go away, the pulling of the clothes will go away. I mean, it's just incredible what, some people will think that we got to turn this into a sit or a station or a lay or whatever, and that's not the answer. It's not an obedience issue. This is a behavioral issue. So you got to work on that behavioral issue, and you got to work on it the right way, and in regards to where they actually get to a point to where they understand that they're not allowed to do certain things. And if they do certain things, then there's a consequence to their actions. So, yeah, telling him no a lot, and there's a reason why if you talk that it's not working, there's another procedure that you got to do. So I tell him no a lot. He probably thinks that's his name, LOL. Yeah, I get it. He's learning a lot, but is still very excited with company. So that's his trigger. Right? Company is his trigger. It could be a doorbell. It could be opening the door. It could be a multitude of things, but definitely the people that come in are the trigger, right? So we got to figure out, how do we break that down a little bit, right? How do we break down the fact that it's a visitor that comes in and they don't go berserk, right? So I tell everybody, we got to go to a point to where we got to understand what's actually triggering them. And here's one of my secrets, I guess, that I make sure everybody knows, and it's not a big secret. I really don't think it's a big secret, but it talks about triggering. I think everyone has a window of tolerance, right? And inside that window of tolerance, it's a good day or a bad day or whatever, but it's a fuzzy line, right? And inside of it, you're operating. You might get stressed out a little bit, but you might be reaching the top of that gray line, but you're functioning within that window, right? So but something's going to trigger you. It could be from a dog's point of view. It could be a door, it could be a doorbell, it could be a car horn, it could be a person, it could, whatever triggers outside that window. So if that dog triggers outside that window because of that thing, you got to teach him how to come back into that window and operate and function and decompress to a point to where that trigger doesn't trigger them anymore. So if this trigger doesn't trigger, that trigger doesn't trigger, this trigger, you're slowly erasing all the triggers to where now the dog is functioning within that window of tolerance. That is what I want to make sure people do. And it's nothing about obedient commands. It is all about behavior and consequences, and all about how do you make your dog listen to you in spite of themselves. That's one issue. How do they listen to you in spite of themselves, right? So there's a process that I have that if you're talking to them by saying, no, stop it, and saying their name and yelling at them, then, I'll use this analogy. How many times do you have to hit the enter key before you realize the enter key is not working, right? How many times you got to yell at them before you realize yelling at them is not going to work, right? So it comes down to, what do you need to do, right? That's where I think you need a trainer. And, you can't do things like making them fearful with a paper in their hand or a squirt bottle or whatever. That's not going to work. They're just going to be afraid of those things, right? And they'll run away from you. So not the right answer, right? He's getting better. We have not been giving him the attention right away when he comes in. We walk past him and let him calm down, then love and pet him when he's calm. It is helping. That will help, but I think one you need to make sure of is when do you touch him? How do you touch him? He actually needs to understand, because I think if you do something like that too soon, I think you're going to wind up breaking that whole, let's say that took 10 minutes to do that. You walk into the house, you ignore him, you leave him alone, you do, put groceries down, take your shoes off, take your coat off, go into the kitchen, whatever, you do what you do, right? So during that whole time, if you're ignoring him and all he's doing is following you around and nipping at your feet, but eventually he gives up, that's great. That's fine, but just because he gave up and sat down or lay down on the floor doesn't mean you reach over and pet him either, right? There's something, I don't want to be specific here, but there's something else you need to be aware of too, and you can't just pet him right away because you're not sure whether or not what you're getting ready to do with the touch is at the right time. And I'll leave it at that. But that's what I mean. Sometimes I think when someone recommends to other people, we'll just ignore, right? It's not, it's almost a cookie cutter answer, right? So I don't think just ignoring is the answer. I think there's more to it than that. I think there's more to it than, hey, Sarah, how you doing? So there's more to it than that. Hi, Robin, how you doing? I think there's more to it than just ignoring. You can't just ignore the dog and expect the situation to be correctly communicated, right? Like if you're upset at somebody, all right, and they've done something wrong to you, and all you do is ignore them, does that other person get the idea of what it is that they did wrong? Maybe not. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be able to effectively communicate. Ignoring is only part of the equation, right? So you can't just ignore. They have to have some sort of explanation that makes sense to them as to why or what they did wrong. So I think the ignoring answer is only part of the equation. It doesn't fix the issue. And again, neither does obedience commands. That won't fix the issue either. That'll just suppress it or circumvent it for 5 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes, whatever it might be, but they go right back to the bad behavior again. I'm saying we need to fix the behavior, right? We need to fix the issue that the dog has created themselves. Just like anything else, we need to make sure that they understand what they're doing is either right or wrong. So again, consequential behavior. I call my methods consequential training. So it's a matter of what do we need to do to bring the message across to the dogs that what they're doing is right or wrong. So they have to be able to understand that. I get what you're saying. I'm guilty for sure of loving and petting him a lot. even if it's wrong. Oh, thank you for saying that. So one of the biggest things I tell people all the time, dogs do not understand empathy. You cannot just pet and love your dog problems away, right? So a classic example is a nervous Chihuahua. All people seem to do with the little dogs is pick them up and hold them and pet them and try to go, shh, shh, it's okay, I love you, and talk and love it away. And when in actuality, that's the worst thing you can possibly do. Dogs don't understand empathy. They only understand approval from you, approval or denial from you, right? So it's a matter of whether or not, if what you're communicating is coming across, it doesn't even matter what you're communicating. What your intentions are doesn't matter, right? They're only reading your intentions as what they think it is. What I mean by that is here we have a dog that's nervous and not socialized very well. I don't care what the dog is, right? It could be a Chihuahua, it could be anything. If the dog is not socialized well enough, right, and all you're going to do is hold it and coddle it and love it and say it's okay, I'm trying to empathize with you, if I just love this away you'll feel better, right? The dog doesn't look at it like that. The dog will never look at it like that, because they don't read or measure life like that. They look at things like, I want to make my owner happy, so I'm getting coddled and loved. When I feel nervous, oh, I guess I'm supposed to feel nervous. So what do? They wind up feeling more and more and more and more nervous, and you are the ones that are making them neurotic. I just kind of flat out say it. You cannot do that. And I tell people all the time, a lot of times it is hard for people to break their own habits of, I just want to love my dog so much. And I get that, I understand it, but you can't do that all the time. It all depends upon the dog. Again, there's a lot, these are things that are dynamic here. You've got to weigh all the reasons for it. I can't just give you one reason and say it's going to work for every dog. You've got to understand where they are in the training, where they are in their personality, where they are in their history of issues. So there's a lot to take in effect here. So what I'm saying is kind of generalities here, but it's according to a lot of things. So you cannot just coddle your dog is the short answer. They're not going to understand it. So and again, I know a lot of people who like to coddle their dogs and they like to love them away, and I get it, but for some dogs, and I'll tell some people this, that when you're dying and you really want to give your dog a hug, it's okay, but make them do something. If you want to satisfy your own need to get a hug from your dog, I get it. Then make them do something. It's very simple. It's very easy. If you want to give your dog a hug just because you just want to give them a hug, that's fine, but make them do something. So tell them to come over and tell them to sit, and instead of giving them a treat, you give them a hug. It's okay. Now, now you reach into the stereotypical statement that dogs don't like hugs. Overall, I'm going to agree with that. But when I say give your dog a hug, it doesn't necessarily mean a big squeezable hug. It just means that you can just hold them and just pat them, and that's fine, or you can do whatever. But some dogs will put up with it. Some dogs don't mind it. Most dogs don't like it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I can understand when trainers say dogs don't like to be hugged, because it's not a sign of affection for them, right? They don't understand the hug, the pressure, it doesn't make sense to them. So they don't look at it like we do, right? But just remember when I'm saying that if you want to hug your dog, make them do something, then you can hug your dog and pet them and pat them. So what do people do then when they hug their dog? They hug and squeeze, and then after that they boop, 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 boop. And then, after they pull away, then they bat, bat, bat. It's some kind of pet or something. It might be a pet, or it might be a little, boop, boop, thanks, but I think the dog understands the second part more than the hug itself. So anyway, just if you really want to love your dog, it's okay. Just make them do something. So let's see if there's any more questions here. If someone else has any more, hey Travis, how you doing? If anyone has any questions, let me know. They can ask it here, or they can call me on the phone. That's fine. But well, yeah, I just realized this started off as what we were going to talk about as far as what services we offer, and it never even went in that direction. So that's okay. It's okay. We'll probably hit it up next week. So, you know, if anyone has any additional questions, please write it on the side here, or you know, text me, or write a message on a PM, or even a message on my inbox. That's fine. I also wanted to take this chance to tell everybody that I'm going to be over in Westmoreland Mall this Saturday, which is the 2nd, and I'll be there doing, I'll have a table there. I think I'll bring my dog. I'm not sure. I think I'll bring him. We'll probably try to demonstrate some things, or we'll have people pet him, or whatever. But he's an American Bulldog. A lot of people know him. He's a therapy dog. But we'll figure things out. But I just wanted everybody to know that from 11 to 3 is when that, I can't even recall the name of it now, but it's inside the mall. It's where the elevator is, that big open area. There's going to be a lot of vendor booths, tables there, and it's talking about therapies for people. And they wanted me to come there and do a speech for a half hour from, I think it was from 12 o'clock to 12:30, about animal therapy. So I'll be there, and we'll talk about any things. I'll answer questions, dog training questions. Of course, if anybody needs that help, I can do that. But we'll be there again, Westmoreland Mall, this Saturday. It starts at 11, and I'll have my own table there. If you know, stop by and see me, ask questions, that's fine. Again, if anyone wants to ask me questions now or later, that would be great. Let me read this one. I think I'm the only person who gives hugs to my son's dog. She does seem confused as to why I want hugs, but I try to do this with her each time I visit. The reason I try to be specific with her is that there is only 4 people she will allow in the home. Okay, again, figure out the message you're giving her. Does she understand the message you're giving her? If you're giving her the hug and she looks confused, change the hug. Change the acknowledgement into something different that she understands or appreciates, right? Don't have to be a hug. It's got to be just a pat on the head, or a big long pet from head to toe. You know, whatever that might be. But I think they would understand that a little more, a little easier, right? So a hug just might wind up leaving her confused. Like, what were you just doing? So try not to hug, try to just change it up a little bit. See how she responds to it. I think you'll get a better answer out of her if you don't give her an actual squeeze or a hug like that. I think if you just pat her on the head, or you know, just give her a big long pat from the head to tail kind of thing, that might work better. So I think she would appreciate that more. She would feel less stressed or more at ease when you do something like that. So again, it's not about you, you know, it's more about them, and how do you communicate back and forth in that method to make it so your dog winds up staying calm with it, right? So, and not that they're getting stressed out. So I don't want to say they're stressed out, but it's just an uncomfortable situation that doesn't have to happen, right? It's just showing respect towards the dog, really, is what you're doing. You're just trying to be respectful, right? If that was a human and they didn't appreciate the hug, what would you do? You would change it, right? So you would change it in the effect of, well, I don't want to be so offensive to you. You know, I want to make sure that you feel at least a little bit at ease. So that's what you're doing, right? You know, it just comes down to, you know, what makes them feel a little bit more comfortable, if all you have to do is change your strategy a little bit. I also give belly rubs each time, and this she knows. So good, that's fine. Is this the best way to show her that I will continue to be a friend to her, though she does not seem to be see me every day? I make a point to go see her to help her know that other people besides my son are okay to visit? Yes, that's the short answer. I think, she is able to absorb that information in a better way than the hug itself. So, excuse me. I think that way she's able to appreciate the interaction with you more. So, she does always love the belly rubs, though. Yeah, and I don't know a dog that doesn't, to be honest with you. So, Christy, for a home visit, are there different rates, or do you have standard rate for a lesson? Chrissy, I do have different rates for how I come to the home. It's two basic ways, right? We're not talking therapy dog and service dog. That's a little bit different rates. They're similar, but they're different. So I'm not going to talk therapy dog and service dog. For obedience or for behavioral, if I'm doing an evaluation type of thing where I'm coming to someone's house and I'm there for the first time, that's going to be two different options. One is $85 for an hour, and then $45 for every half hour after. If that's an hour long, it starts at the 85. If it's short, really short, that it's like a half an hour, then it's $45. So let me just rephrase all that in a different way. If I'm there for a half hour and it's my first visit, right, it could be $45 for the half hour. If it turns into an hour, it's 85. If it turns into more time than that, it's 45 for every half hour after that. Right? That's one option, right? That's geared towards time. That's geared towards probably you're only going to need one visit. There's a lot of times I'm there only one visit, and things get fixed. So, so option two is multiple sessions. If we're going to wind up turning it into multiple sessions, and it could be later on that evening or that time that I'm visiting you, we turn it into multiple sessions. That's fine. It doesn't have to be the first option when I get there. It could easily turn into the second option. The second option, like I said, is multiple visits. That is $110, but it's not timed. So an example of that would be I come to your house, start with an evaluation, and we start working on the issues, right? Let's say jumping or loose leash. I'm there working on the issues. I'm showing you what it is you need to do, or I'm trying to give you homework to do, right? And in that homework, we realize that it's now going to take more than just this day to help you figure out what it is you need to do, because there's multiple issues wrapped around it. There's dog reactionary, there's fence aggression, there's whatever, right? That's going to take more than one visit, of course. So now we realize that it's going to be multiple visits. You can turn that $85 into a $110 visit, $110 visit, but it's not timed. Right, and that counts as your first visit. All I ask is when you apply for multiple visits, you do at least 2 visits. So, and you can easily add to it or do whatever it is you need to do along the way. You can always change the location. You can always change the date. You can always change the time. You can always change who I'm teaching. So let's say I'm there on the first visit and I'm working with a husband and a wife and a teenager, right? And I don't need, on the first visit, I just need to see everybody. On the second, third, and fourth, whatever the number of visits, I don't need everybody there. So let's say I'm working with everybody on the first visit. I'm understanding personalities. I'm understanding everything. Then if there's a second visit, then I don't need everybody. I can work with the husband, or I can work with the wife, or I can work with whoever, right, in order to get the dog trained, because the dog needs to be understood by all those different people. So I need to work with each one of those people separately at some point, right? And say, okay, this is how the dog interacts with you. I need to work with you to help you find your voice with the dog in order to do what you need to do to keep the dog under control. So I hope that answers your question. Let me just read the question again. For a home visit, are there different rates? Yes. Do you have a standard rate for a lesson? The standard rate, I guess, for one lesson, if it's one time, would be the $85 an hour, I guess, unless it's multiple sessions. Again, so it's structured a little differently. Do you want to do it on a time limit, or do you want to do it by the issue, right? So if you do it by the issue, that's $110 by the issue, and we're working the issue, and it's not timed. So I hope that makes sense. I think that will be it for today. It's been about an hour, but I think today was a pretty good day. I guess it started off as something else, but ended as something different. Sorry to hear about Krista and her dog, but I think a lot of people, again, I hear it a lot, right? And I get the fact that it's a hard decision, right? I'm never going to tell somebody to put their dog down. I'll say that to you now. I will never tell you to put your dog down because of its aggression, or there is nothing that I, as an outside person, even as a trainer, that I will tell you to put your dog down. I will never say that to anybody. I will tell you it's your decision. I will tell you, I will help you weigh your decision. I will help you understand all the consequences of your decisions, but you're the one that's got to lay your head down at night and come to that answer and say, I made the right answer, right? I'm only there to help you. And whatever your decision is, I will not judge you for it. So I just want to make sure that you're making the right decision that's for you, right? So if you have an aggressive dog and it's biting people, right? But it didn't make it on the quarantine list yet, right? The dog can be trained. It might take a while. It might be whatever. It might need to be secluded. Whatever the answer is, but I think it can be fixed. Now, there's a whole slew of things that come into play here. There's a whole slew of things. Do you have the ability to train this dog? Do you have the ability to give them to another family member, and does that person have the ability to time to train? There's just so many variables here, but I will never tell you to put your dog down just because you're having trouble with it, or if there's medical issues. Again, that's your decision. So I want people to understand that I have never told anybody to put their dog down for any reason whatsoever other than what they felt was needed for them. My job is not to tell you to put your dog down. My job is to help you come up with answers that fit your life safely. I can't have the dog attacking a child or another person or a neighbor or a baby. I can't. So you got to think through what you have to do, right? And you can't pawn that dog off to another person for their problem because you don't have the time to work it. Do not lie and tell the shelter or the rescue or anyone else that you're giving the dog to that their dog has no issues. Then you just wound up living with a lie. So I'll tell you that too. Don't do that. So again, a lot of things come into play with that. But and that might be a whole topic in and of itself, really, that I make sure that people understand is I don't judge. And you can't tell people what your feelings are. You can only give them the information and let them choose what's best for them. But I think that's better. I don't tell people what to learn. I tell people what's out there, and they can pick and learn from what they think is right for them. So I think that's more like my job. Hi, Lori. How you doing? But I think that's more important, is I give all of the options that are out there and help them understand what it is they're looking for to give them the peace of mind that they need. So we'll do this again next week, again next Wednesday at 8. If you have questions, please call me. Again, the number is 724-420-5392. You can mail me, email me, well, not email, but whatever, Facebook, inbox me, whatever that's called. If you want to PM me, that's fine. If you want to add to this string as later when this is on my wall, that's fine too. Again, I'll be at the mall this weekend at 11 o'clock to roughly 3 at my own table there. So if you want to come out and see me and ask questions, we can do that. But that's pretty much it for today. So also, if anyone has any ideas on what topics you would like to see me talk about, that would be great. We can do that too. I can bring up specific topics that would be important to you guys. So give me feedback. Please tell me what you want. Let me know what interests you guys, and we can talk about that. Hope I'm not missing anything. So, again, let me know what you like and don't like. Reach out to me. That's not a problem. So, I actually enjoy these. So it just keeps me helping people understand, one, the way that I train, what I think is different about the way that I train, and why it's different and better than some of the other methods that are out there. You know, it's just, again, not a cookie cutter answer. It's not static. It's very dynamic. It helps people understand the reality of dog training. It helps people understand the reality of what it is they need to do to have calm and peace in their household, where they probably felt they never had it before. So it's practical. It's realistic. It's non-cookie cutter. I think it's a good fit for a lot of people. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Again, if you need to get a hold of me, please do so. Give me some input, and we'll devise something for next week. But again, next week at 8 o'clock at night, and we'll see everybody again. If anyone wants to be a live caller, please give me a call. Again, next week, that's fine. So this actually helps a lot of people. Okay. With that, I'm going to let everybody go. And thanks, everybody, for stopping by, and I hope you had a good session with this. Thank you.